to join. Again, welcome to this webinar on computational design for AEC. And again, so largely I will be discussing with you uh, the applications of computational design across architecture, engineering, and construction industry. And predominantly, uh, the discussion will revolve around Dynamo, which is our core uh, application which supports the computational design workflow. But before I jump into the application and the use cases that Dynamo brings to the fore, just wanted to first of all put across the safe harbor statement. Some of the applications that I might discuss might not be out of the box uh, solutions in Revit. So those my those are customized scripts that we've prepared. So again, when you're purchasing the software, you probably might have to take that into consideration. So just put out the safe harbor statement for you to go through. Okay, so just wanted to start off by discussing on how technology progression has happened within the AEC industry when it comes to design. So again, we start off our discussion with the traditional design techniques as to how we began at the onset of the century. So largely the design happened uh, through hand sketches. We were we were creating most of our drawings by hand using traditional drafters, hand drafters, uh, and again developing sheets, developing different views. Uh, Again, using only our hand. But as with the advent of computers, computer-aided drafting came to the fore. Autodesk came up with AutoCAD, which again helped in this migration from uh, sketch-based drafting to computer-aided drafting, which provide a little more precision, which provided a lot more accuracy, and again it sped up uh, the entire workflow. Again, typically a hand sketch, if it took maybe a couple of hours to draw that, the same thing could be achieved in AutoCAD in maybe 20% of that time. So again, multiple benefits. Uh, uh, that small piece of technology brought in multiple benefits in terms of accuracy, precision, speed. But then we again grew further in terms of uh, the technology adoption, and then came the era of parametric modeling and parametric design, and that is where uh, Revit came to the fore. Now, what do I mean by parametric modeling? So the aspect is easy. Like any uh, design that I do is based on certain parameters. Now, those parameters could be uh, 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 used for a mathematical operation like such, or a graphical operation, right? And in case of our design, we are typically more focused with the graphical operations. So again, Revit is the tool uh, which was predominantly which brought this whole parametric modeling concept within the AEC domain. And again, largely starting off with the architecture piece and then spreading into MEP and structures, and today even in the civil infrastructure space. So again, just to give an idea what I mean by parametric modeling, I believe most of the Revit users already know this fact. So now, if any component I need to model, let's say in this particular case, I'm modeling a curtain wall. So that curtain wall will have certain parameters that probably we can always have a look in the properties palette, and on the fly you can make a change, and that change is visible across the project, whether we are seeing it in a perspective view, in an elevation view, in a plan view. So that parameter, once I have updated that value, that information is spread across the project. And again, on the fly, you can make changes to the design, and the same thing will be reflected. And because it's all parametric, you can consider multiple design scenarios in the shortest of time frame. So I don't really need to uh, spend time developing each view separately for me to be able to evaluate that uh, a second or third design option. Here, all you need to do is update the parameter value pertaining to that component or that element, and those changes are reflected real time uh, within the model. So again, it also saved uh, considerable time in this iterative process of design option generation. But now, when I again have a look at where we are currently in terms of technology progression, okay, we've probably when it comes to I'll be focusing more from an India perspective, because again globally we've seen the uh, technology adoption happening much faster when it comes to the AEC community. But today, if I talk about India as a country, we are largely at this particular junction, which is more focusing and trying to adopt computational modeling. And again, Dynamo is the uh, go-to application when it comes to the Autodesk portfolio for computational design and computational modeling. Uh, so let's have a look at uh, what computational modeling entails and uh, what all different use cases. Now again, so before I jump into the use cases, let's just discuss what do I mean by computational modeling. Now, computational modeling is where you start defining certain rules, where you start defining a certain syntax uh, on the parameters. So what we are basically defining is a behavior which governs or a rule which governs the behavior of your parameters. So how will the value of the parameters change, or how will the parameters adapt when certain values change around that particular parameter? So here is where we create an algorithm. Here is where we create a flow chart as to how that information will flow through. So Dynamo basically helps me do that by uh, creating a visual program. So, and it's predominantly meant for non-programmers, the whole workflow. So the intent is people who are not adept or who are not very conversant with the coding side or the scripting side of things, they can create these visual scripts where they can define how the information flows and probably define what outcomes they want to achieve out of it. So Dynamo forms this bridge between the core design application, which is Revit, and the development platform. In this particular case, Revit APIs, where probably again some people who are very who are conversant in scripting can use can use languages like coding programming languages like C Sharp, uh, VB.NET, Python, or other languages to kind of create plugins or create macros or create bring in a lot more automation within their design. But most of the engineers, and when I say engineers, I'm talking about civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, um, and even probably electrical engineers to some extent, but architects to a larger extent are not very conversant with the scripting part of it, because that is not their core forte, right? So it is for these people that Dynamo uh, comes as a boon, where again they can create these visual uh, uh, scripts or visual programs, and again achieve a similar automation within the design workflows. So again, if I just have a very quick visual check in terms of what a scripting environment looks like and how does it reflect when the same information is translated within the Dynamo environment. So here, if you're saying we are performing almost the same operation, but with much less steps and with in a more simpler manner, right? So here we're just doing the same, getting the element selected and then probably feeding a parameter value for that particular element. But then here within three nodes, so these small blocks of code is what we term as nodes in the Dynamo environment. So we just connect those nodes to perform that operation of uh, assigning a parameter a certain value. Now, Dynamo, when it was developed, again was an open source platform, uh, and again once it graduated, it became its own tool called Dynamo Studio. But then we realized Dynamo in itself might not be as beneficial to the industry. So what we did was we linked Dynamo to various of our design solutions. So today you have a Dynamo utility uh, or a smaller version of Dynamo specifically developed for Revit. So this particular version, we call it Dynamo for Revit, uh, can be accessed directly from within Revit itself, and it will have specific libraries, specific packages pertaining to the core workflows that we use in Dynamo, that we use in Revit. Similarly, we have a Dynamo for Formit. Uh, Today there is an integration of Dynamo with advanced steel. So all our steel modeling, structural steel modeling and detailing, again, I can bring in a lot more automation in advanced steel through Dynamo. And very recently, I mean, around July or August last year, we launched Dynamo for Civil 3D to again bring in this automation in the infrastructure workflows and infrastructure solutions. So I'll be talking about some of the utilities across most of these products as to how Dynamo is really beneficial. But it is not, that's not the extent of it. So today we are also adding more and more integrations within Autodesk solutions as well as with third-party solutions to build these interoperable workflows, to build to bring in more connected workflows between multiple solutions, so that information in a true BIM environment, it's all about how we manage this information, right? So again, Dynamo we are leveraging as a utility for us to translate this information seamlessly across different applications for different use cases for different outcomes. So again, if I just have to explicitly define why Dynamo, so and probably where Dynamo, so what are the scenarios in which we should consider Dynamo as an effective solution. So some of the repetitive tasks that I have pertaining to drawing creation or documentation, so I can just build a quick script or build a quick Dynamo workflow which can be shared across different users, across different projects. And again, because it's something which is repeatable, so I can easily leverage the same script multiple times and again save considerable time rather than doing the same operation 5 times. And maybe, if let's say that operation entails 6 or 7 steps, so rather than me doing those 35 steps again and again, I can just create a repeatable workflow and run the script, and within one click or one push kind of an operation, it will automatically develop or give me the outcome that I need. Another key area is where it involves complex modeling, complex geometry modeling. So that is where again I can use Dynamo, where I can define very complex mathematical formulas, whether it be in terms of generating complex facades, whether it be in terms of generating structural models, elements with complex shapes and complex forms. So again, that is where you can use Dynamo to solve these complex geometric problems. Uh, and again, the most basic aspect to explore these parametric designs in a much more comprehensive manner, where you can use these parameters to evaluate multiple design scenarios and see what changes, what impact does a particular change make to the larger design. So I'll just start off by a few use cases. So when it comes to architecture, one of the most basic use case of Dynamo would be in terms of modeling this complex facade wall. And just to give you the context, how it can be used. So we just start off by creating a simple mask for the building core, and then we use the different phases of the uh, core to develop our facade. And again, now again, I can bring in as much complexity in terms of uh, the facade creation as I need. I can add uh, bicurvilinear structure to the entire facade. I can make use of adaptive components to even generate the panels and then maybe use that information for fabrication of those panels at a later stage, which again gives me a lot more accuracy in terms of my design, leading to lesser issues on site while the erection of the walls, while I construct the wall at site, and because all my panels will automatically fit, because all those scenarios I've already taken into account during the design phase itself. So here we are just trying to uh, develop the wall, and again we've just tried to warp it to an extent where probably you can see it's changing the curvature both uh, along the vertical as well as the horizontal axis. And then again we can, so here we are talking more in terms of static panels. We could also have kinetic panels uh, 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 created within the dynamo, using the dynamo environment in Revit, where the panel automatically adapts, the shape of the panel automatically adapts to a particular point or to a particular condition. So probably it might be pertaining to the position of the sun. So when I'm having a higher radiation fall on specific panels on my facade, those panels should automatically close. So I have less heat being translated within my rooms. And similarly, panels where I have lesser radiation, or a lower intensity of the radiation, should automatically open for natural ventilation. So those kind of scenarios can also be generated. Another key area is in terms of automating your documentation workflows, in terms of annotation workflows, automatic placement of your tags, dimensions. So here again, I've just taken a simple example for a floor plan, and based on the definitions of my uh, tags and the definition of my dimension style, it will automatically add those 2D details to the floor plan. But the intelligence comes when there is a change which is made in my design. So probably after a certain point of time, I realize maybe I need to add another room, or I need to add uh, 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 maybe some area to this particular floor plan, or I need to change the style of a wall, or I need to change the thickness of the wall. So I don't really need to revisit the entire workflow. I don't really need to do the tagging once again. I don't really need to add dimensions manually. All I can do in that particular case is just make the changes in my design and rerun the same script. So in this particular case, what we've just done is we've selected the new elements that we've added to this particular flow. And once I rerun the script, what you'll see is it automatically coordinates those changes and places those additional dimensions and those additional tags and additional annotations on my floor plan. Again, saves, again, when it comes to typical annotation and 2D workflows, it's how much clicks I can save. So here you could see an instance of that. And if you can think of replicating the same across maybe 50 or 100 drawings, it saves considerable time. And again, this time can then be spent in more meaningful purposes, maybe in optimizing the design, right? Another example, again, from a modeling perspective, more from a MEP side or electrical side, is automating the placement of lighting fixtures uh, based on certain predefined rules, or predefined conditions as to how do I want to place it on the ceilings, what should be the spacing, and again parameterizing the entire workflow, where again you have the inputs defined in terms of spacing, in terms of the type of lighting fixtures I need to place. And again, once that script is developed, it could be leveraged on for multiple projects, multiple times, multiple floors. And at the back, if you see, once we run the script, you can see it has automatically added those lighting fixtures. Those small black dots is the coordinate points where the fixtures are added. And here also you can see those lighting fixtures automatically populate within the ceilings on my ceiling plan. Again, another documentation workflow would be automatic placement of, again, this is probably one of the most cumbersome operations of individually developing the sheets, uh, and then placing those views on a one by one basis onto the particular sheet. Now, again, that whole workflow could be automated by just preparing a simple Excel spreadsheet in which I define the information as to what view goes onto what sheet, and the whole sheet creation process and the view placement in one single good could be automated through that Dynamo script. So just to give you the context of how that workflow runs, uh, so if you see, we have a few sheets already prepared, and I'll just open the sheet list. So you see a few sheets are there, and so these are the new sheets that I want to add, and in that I've defined the information as to what views I would like to place and what is the type of the view. Now again, the definition of the parameters will depend on the Dynamo script, of how we've prepared that script, uh, so that all the inputs are available for Dynamo to run the script accordingly. So here, once we run the script, you'll see in the sheet list it will add those additional sheets, and also once I open the sheets, you can see the views automatically being placed. Now in this particular case, we've placed a single views, but the same workflow could be used by defining the dimensions on the sheet, or the coordinates on the sheet for placing multiple views in one single click or in one single operation. Again, another one from a modeling standpoint could be in terms of placement of automating the placement of hangers for our pipes. Again, uh, can be done in Revit today. There are free applications or free plugins also available for this, but then, or sorry, there are applications or plugins or apps available to do this. But again, most of them are paid, so you can do this on your own using Dynamo. Uh, and again, it will save you a few clicks uh, within the Revit environment. And again, here you can again add more parameters in terms of automating the spacing between the hangers and the type of hanger you want to place. And anytime you want, you can change that value. And again, this is something which is repeatable. So it's not like it's a one-time thing. Like probably for every project, you might have to redo this. So this could be, once you've created it, once you've spent that time in developing the script, this can be leveraged across multiple projects by multiple people. Uh, we have a really good integration today uh, between Dynamo and Excel, so you can easily pass information, or they're completely interoperable with each other. So here we have taken an example where we are uh, establishing interoperability between AutoCAD and Revit uh, through Dynamo, and the information is coming via Excel. So what we are trying to achieve is basically, again, on the placement of elements, and the coordinates we are trying to pick uh, from the CAD version of that drawing. So we already have received the CAD drawing from our engineering consultant, and now I need to convert that information into the BIM model. So one method of that would be, I do that whole process manually. I open a CAD drawing, open the instance of the Revit model, and then just quickly identify the location of each and every element. It could be a lighting fixture, it could be a sprinkler, it could be an additional architecture component, and then do that placement manually, or it could be a little more automated using the Dynamo workflow. So in this particular case, what we can make use of is the data extraction command. So here, if you see, there are no lighting fixtures currently. So we can make use of the data extraction command in AutoCAD to extract the details of the blocks representing the lighting fixture. Uh, and what we are basically exporting out is the information pertaining to the type of block, which will kind of map to the uh, Revit family, and then the coordinates of its placement in terms of the X and Y position uh, for that particular block, which will again give me the location of how or where I need to place that uh, lighting fixture family within the Revit model. And again, once we input that information coming to the Dynamo environment, uh, all I need to do is select that spreadsheet uh, and pull the information, which is the coordinates and the uh, lighting fixture block name, so that I can automatically, and again, if you could see, it's a very smaller script that we've prepared over here. So you see automatically within the Revit environment, we were able to place the lighting fixtures. And again, there could be, this is just uh, an illustration of the possibility. This could have been used for uh, various other use cases across my architecture design or even structural design. Another use case, I believe some of you might have seen this earlier, but some of you who probably haven't, is where we can integrate Navisworks, Dynamo, and Revit to bring a little more automation in terms of our coordination workflows. So here, I can directly generate or identify my clashes within the Revit environment, and then develop viewpoints or uh, uh, specific views for each and every clash uh, within the Revit environment. So once I identify the clashes by running the Dynamo script, so there is a particular package called DynaWorks which helps me do that. Uh, Once you run the clash, what you will see is it automatically adds a specific uh, arrow family indicating the location where the clash is happening, uh, and then even gives me a clash report through a schedule within the Revit environment itself. Now, there are a couple of methods of resolving this. One method would be directly making the change within the Revit file itself, where maybe I can add an opening within my wall to resolve that duct and wall clash. So we can just quickly go and add a wall opening, and it addresses that. And what you'll see is once I rerun the script, that clash automatically goes away. That arrow family automatically goes away. Means this whole workflow is has a little more intelligence than just the looks and feels of it. Same way, once I go to the link file and change the position of my pipes uh, and kind of reload the changes and bring back the changes in the file, you'll see again that second clash also is resolved within the Revit environment itself. And then we can have a little more automation by achieving the integration with uh, Navisworks. So for clashes which we realize have to be resolved on the site, or maybe clashes which are not really clashes, uh, but something which is more pertaining to the constructability and will be addressed at the site, we can just add those comments, right? Uh, and maybe change the status. So once I make that change, and once I again come back to my Revit or Dynamo environment, what you'll see is even that detail is updated in my final clash report in Revit. So again, bringing a lot more automation in terms of our workflow, uh, where it's understanding the operations that I'm doing across the spectrum of applications that I'm using. So again, another effective use case. From a structural perspective, there could be multiple uh, instances where Dynamo can be really helpful. One of the, the first thing that I would like to share is, in case uh, I'm doing modeling of my piles, and essentially I have a topographic surface developed, but again, because of the changes in the terrain and changes in the topography, it becomes very tedious and it becomes very cumbersome to identify the depth of the pile. Because each pile will have a different length in case we have not graded the surface. So here is where uh, Dynamo can become really useful, where we can bring in that automation by kind of identifying the projections of the pile on my topographic surface to determine the actual depth. Now here you see there is already a parameter called depth, which is added in each and every pile. Now it is because these piles are parametric that we are able to leverage Dynamo to calculate the values for those parameters based on again the formulas and the methodology that we define. So again, it's a quick script where we are trying to, all we are trying to do is I have a surface at the bottom, and I'm just trying to project my pile to that particular surface. And here, if you see, each and every pile has a different depth depending on the terrain and depending on the topography. And that value I can easily determine by the depth parameter. So again, makes my job as a designer really easy because I don't have to perform those calculations manually. So I don't have to open a spreadsheet and run those calculations and then input them into the Revit environment. The whole workflow becomes really simple. Another aspect, again, from a coordination standpoint, is in terms of uh, being able to identify openings for structural elements. Any sleeves I want or any cutouts that I want, rather than me having to do this or adding this opening manually, using a script or using the Dynamo environment, I can automate this opening creation or cutout creation directly in the Revit, uh, uh, in my Revit design. So let's have a look at that. So if you could see, there are a few structural beams running through my walls, but there is no cutout or there is no opening as such defined, which will eventually, once it goes to the site, will cause construction issues, or which will result in some level of downtime. So again, we just created a simple script for Revit to be able to first of all identify that clash or identify that instance, and then the second thing we've done is define to Revit what is the operation. So we need to place a void or we need to place a cutout where it reads or where it detects the clash. And then we've added a few more parameters in terms of defining the size of the void or size of the cutout, which will again be in reference to the size of the member which passes through it. So here, if you see, we've just given some tolerance so that the beam can be easily placed through that particular cutout or through that particular opening. So again, another use case, and again, it's not like you have to use all of these, but this is just to give you the uh, intent is to make you understand the flexibility and the automation that Dynamo brings to the fore. And again, we are expanding the utility of Dynamo across different domains and across different industries. Uh, so even for the structural steel modeling, today I believe most of you are aware that steel connections are already an integral part of of Revit today. So again, even for automating the generation of steel connections based on pre-configured rules, uh, by single clicks, I can do the detailing of the entire model. So I can just choose the structures, the entire structure, and it will try and identify the scenarios where a particular connection type needs to be placed. So here, if you see the apex haunch connection, it will automatically try and find the rafter beams to identify this scenario where the apex haunch connection needs to be placed, where the base plate connection needs to be placed, where this haunch connection needs to be placed. So again, that's where you can save a large amount of your time, where we in a general Revit workflow, all these connections or all these components have to be manually defined in their locations, and everything needs to be coordinated. So again, that same way, like with steel detailing, same thing is true for concrete detailing as well. So again, just by defining a script, defining the rules of placement of the rebar, once you define across which elements you need to develop that rebar detailing. Uh, what you'll see is in a few seconds, it will develop the entire rebar detail. And again, we can take it further in terms of creation of your rebar detailing sheets and rebar detailing schedules. All of that could also be established through Dynamo. Uh, Last but not the least is the application of Dynamo. Today, Dynamo is an integral part of Civil 3D. I discussed about this earlier. Uh, but just to give you the use case, one of the use cases is in terms of your railways projects, your metro projects, uh, where probably there was a limitation in Civil 3D. People who are very well versed with Civil 3D was in terms of uh, automating the placement of elements across the corridor or across the alignment. Now, in this particular case, we've taken an example of a railway line layout where we need to place my uh, rails, where I need to place my sleepers, where I need to place my OHE lines, and again the input for the placement of the OHE lines or the masts of the OHE lines is coming from Excel. So the whole placement at what junction it needs to place or at what station it needs to get placed is coming from the Excel file. And then even for the cables that run uh, for over these masts. So what should be the sag? What should be the length? What should be the type of the cable? All of that input we can define through Dynamo. And again, it will give me a more realistic. And again, this could be used for placement of my culverts. This could be the same work in case of my highway projects. It could be used for placement of culverts. It could be used for placement of retaining structures, retaining walls. So again, multiple use cases could be leveraged. Today again we are adding more and more nodes within the Dynamo package for corridor creation, for assembly creation. So again, that facet of Dynamo for Civil 3D is something that you can also explore. So yeah, I mean, this is in a gist what I wanted to share in terms of what uh, Dynamo can help, or largely computational design can help uh, uh, do in the AEC domain. Any questions that you have, please feel free to ask. Uh, at this instance, I'll just like to open a small poll. Would request you to give your feedback while you would also post your questions. I'll see if I have any questions populated and would like to answer some of them. Like, so do we have any questions coming? Okay, so there is the first question that I see is uh, what is the duration that one requires to be available to start coding? Okay, that's a pretty open-ended question. Uh, so as I said, I mean, Dynamo, you don't really need to learn to code, but you need to understand the uh, uh, basic rules of Dynamo. So it in terms of how how do we connect those nodes, or how do we establish a workflow, how do we create a flow of information. So again, probably maybe just start with something very basic in terms of exporting data from Dynamo to Excel. So once you're working in Dynamo, there is a lot of uh, preset data you get. There is a lot of data out of the box, a lot of scripts which are available out of the box in Dynamo itself. But then uh, so you can start off with that, uh, and then build your knowledge from there on, and then you can try and identify what is it that you want to address within your workflows through a Dynamo based automation. You will find a lot of content today available on open source platforms. So you have Dynamo forums, you have uh, a lot of good YouTube uh, channels which people share a lot of their workflows on. You can get in touch with us. We can help you get started. You can get in touch with some of our reseller teams, technical teams who have good capabilities. They can at least get you started with the initial training uh, on Dynamo. uh, so again, it's a pretty open-ended question. There is no specific defined timeline because it's very similar to coding, but without having to learn the language, right? So it all depends on an individual level. To get started with the basic concept of Dynamo should not take you more than a couple of days. I believe once you dive into Dynamo for a couple of days, you will largely be familiar with the interface and how it functions. But then creating a workflow would entail a little more than just knowing Dynamo, because it will entail in terms of you being able to create a, logic within your particular script. Any more questions that are coming through? Please feel free to ask your questions in the questions panel. Uh, Let me just open this. Okay, so we have a few questions. Um, okay, I believe there was a question which I kind of answered. So there was a question with regards to railway overhead electrification. Uh, and I believe I showed you a quick workflow of how this and Revit for modeling of your OHE line. Even from a calculation perspective, a load calculation perspective, you can build a script or build a logic uh, within Dynamo to do that load calculation or load demand calculation within Dynamo. I believe that is something I tried to showcase. Uh, can you elaborate on how would you check the scenario of fitment? So again, I mean, you can run. So I probably try to showcase that workflow where you can run a quick uh, clash check, or you can run a quick uh, fitment analysis, like we did in case of that structural element with the wall, where we were able to identify that there was an overlap happening. The members were intersecting one another. There was a physical clash or a physical overlap, and then we added a void or added an opening to resolve that particular issue. Can we also, so there is another question, wanted to know the integration of Revit now. So I'll show you a workflow. Please feel free to get in touch. We can share. Uh, so again, there is a question where probably links. So I'll be sharing we'll be sharing the slides as well as the recording of the webinar. I will add the links for some great uh, sites or some great blogs where some of the advanced users of Dynamo have posted content and shared their scripts pertaining to some of the workflows that I presented today. Let me see. So there is another workflow question, which is how can I use Dynamo specifically for tunnel and bridge projects? So again, it could be used. I mean, that is one of the core areas. So probably when I was trying to mention the use cases of Dynamo earlier, complex geometry modeling is one of the core aspects that it tries to address. So the entire tunnel modeling with regards to the different aspects of the tunnel, whether it be the structural lining, uh, uh, the ducts that run through the tunnel, the electrical lines that run through the tunnel, the entire geometry can be developed through the Dynamo interface itself, where you can create a quick uh, family representing the cross section of the tunnel, and that cross section can be run across the alignment. So let's say we are trying to integrate, we are trying to bring in alignment from a core infrastructure tool like Civil 3D, so which has the X, Y, and Z coordinates for my uh, uh, representing the alignment of the tunnel. So I can just run that cross section of the tunnel across that particular alignment. So probably there is already an established use case. I could not present it today, but it is something which probably, again, if you go to our uh, AU website, which is au.autodesk.com, you will find multiple organizations have used this particular workflow across various metro projects, across various infrastructure design projects pertaining to tunnel modeling and tunnel design. Okay, so I will be sharing the presentation. There is a question on the content sharing. So I'll be sharing the presentation. Uh, I will see if I can share some of the scripts that probably I presented today, along with the uh, recording and the uh, slides. Again, there are a lot of questions in terms of learning, in terms of training, in terms of getting started with Dynamo. So again, feel free to reach out to one of our reseller organizations, or you can directly get in touch with us. Just provide your feedback. We will try and reach out to you to understand your requirement and to at least get you started and get that 101 Dynamo 101 thing arranged for you and your organization. Okay, so there is a question for bridges without Civil Connect. How can we bring alignment of a highway to Revit workspace through Dynamo from Civil 3D? Again, there are multiple methods. So the easiest one I could recommend is in terms of generating a report for your alignment in Civil 3D, which is basically an Excel file. And that Excel file has a few key details in terms of the point information, the X, Y, and Z coordinates. And again, that could be then from that Excel environment brought into the Revit environment, where we can just use that XYZ point information, XYZ coordinate information to define the uh, uh, placement of my girders or placement of my tunnel cross sections within the Revit workflow. So again, probably if you, I would recommend, again, there is a lot of content on this particular use case. So probably I'll just see if I can get in touch with you, probably share that workflow. I'll add that workflow also to the slide deck before I share it with you. So again, that might give you the uh, understanding of how that works between Revit, Civil 3D, and Dynamo. There is a question: can we use Dynamo for electrical demand calculation based on the area? Absolutely, not just for electrical demand, even for your uh, 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 even for your HVAC design, the air terminal uh, calculations in terms of the flow aspects can also be automated. So again, it's a computational package. So you're basically essentially performing calculations. So once you define the correct formula, and only thing is for you to be able to input that or after you perform the calculation, for you to be able to bring that information between into the Revit family, a parameter has to be configured uh, within that Revit family or within that Revit component. So again, yes, the answer is yes, but again, uh, uh, in terms of I probably again in terms of the actual specifics, we can probably discuss. You can get in touch with us or uh, just search. Again, the easiest thing today is there is a lot of content that Autodesk publishes on its YouTube channel. So you can just go to Autodesk Building Solutions. You can find a lot of content on Dynamo over there. You can go to our uh, Autodesk University website, which is au.autodesk.com, and just search in terms of Dynamo, what is that you want to establish. And I'm pretty sure there is already an existing example and an existing case study on that that you will find. Okay, so there is a request probably that we will take into account for firefighting system design in Revit MEP. Okay, I'll share this with our marketing team, and probably let's see how soon we can arrange a webinar on that. Okay, there are a lot more questions coming up pertaining to MEP, which is the which 3D model software is most recommended. Again, if you ask me, it would be Revit without an iota of doubt, because again, it has that it offers you that gamut of offerings where you can do all 4 or 5 different services: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, all of them in one single common environment, right? So you don't really need to jump between multiple applications or jump between multiple tools where there might be a possibility of data loss happening, where there might be a possibility of information loss happening. So here, everything, since it's happening in the same environment, it is in a much more coordinated uh, uh, manner that you can identify those things. Okay, so there is one specific. Okay, somebody is really wants to know on the bridge detailing part, or so the bridge or tunnel modeling one. So again, it could be a adaptive family that you can use for running the cross section through the alignment. It could be a generic structural framing family. Again, there are multiple cases. So again, it depends on how you configure your Dynamo script. What is the input that the Dynamo script wants? If it's a 2-point input that the Dynamo script wants, then probably using a structural framing would be more optimum. If it's a single point input that the script is requiring, then probably an adaptive family would be more useful. So again, it all depends on how we develop our logic within the script, and based on that, we will configure uh, 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 what in the families that we use. Okay, so again, a question in terms of comparing Grasshopper or Dynamo. Okay, so I might not be able to give you the exact comparison. I might not be able to show, but again, both are essentially computational design platforms, and again, both largely are addressing the same concerns. They are both meant for bringing in automation within the workflows. So they're largely the same. People who are who again, it's on a personal preference. People who are working on Revit might find Dynamo to be much more useful because it has much better integration with Revit. Because it will predominantly provide you the core libraries, the geometry libraries, and the other libraries that are being used in the Revit design application. So the integration will be much more better. It will be much more uh, 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 it will be significantly easier in terms of developing content on Dynamo and then bringing that information into Revit. Uh, with Grasshopper also there is an integration in place, but again, since it's an open source tool or it's a third party tool, there might be some limitation in terms of the data interoperability part. So if you're using Revit, I would recommend you to try out Dynamo, which will provide you a much better integration and much better interoperability of information. Uh, so again, I mean, there are a few more questions. Again, I could not answer all of them. We are on the verge of 12 o'clock. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's been a little tough time for all of us. I hope all of you are doing well. I hope you are leveraging this time for your learning and uh, um, you know in terms of developing new skills. So I believe Dynamo could be a great starting point for all of you. Uh, so again, I don't want to take any longer. I just hope you stay safe, stay at your homes, follow the government guidelines uh, in your local regions and from the national or the central government. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining the webinar today. I hope you found it some of it useful. Uh, so with that, yeah, can I give you the rest of your day? Feel free, and probably yes, I will be sharing the content with you. I will try and reach out to some of you who've requested for some additional details. So I'll try and get in touch with you and see to it that I am able to offer some help. So thanks everyone. Have a good day.